If this looked familiar, then you probably recognize this from the TV show The Last of Us. But many people don't know that this show actually originated from a video game called, well, if you guessed it, The Last of Us 1 and 2. And today I'm here to list off some very good video games that would be good if it was recreated in a live action TV show or movie. But before I begin this video, drop a follow, a like, sub, whatever you're comfortable with. If you want more of this content from me, I'm gonna try to post every day, but if I can't, every other day. But yeah, enjoy the video and like, follow, subscribe, and let's get to the video. So the first video game title that I have up here is Detroit Become Human, a video game based around androids and how they are treated amongst the humans of this world. And it's basically about how they just want to be treated like humans too, and how their upbringing is becoming like realistic and is scaring the human race. Now, I'm not going to go into much detail about the game in case any of you haven't played this game before and you want to play it, so there are not going to be any major spoilers for the game. Now, Detroit Becomes Human is basically centered around three main characters, that being Connor, Kara, and Marcus. Alright, the first character up is going to be one of the main characters, Connor, who is a android sent by the company CyberLife to help police aid in deviant investigations. Now, if you haven't played the game, you don't really know what a deviant is, but essentially a deviant is a android that is basically trying to I don't know, like arrange their program for they can be more human and essentially attack or try to flee their owners. And in the eyes of Connor, you're basically going to be looking at basically all the cases of androids turning human and basically turning on their humans and stuff like that. And his perspective, I think, it's like the longest in the game, so he'll probably be like the main character if they ever were to make this into a TV show. But nonetheless, this is like the point of view of Connor in the video game, in which like he is like the prototype android. Like he sees everything in black and white while the other androids see it more in color. So I feel like in a TV show he would definitely be like a very interesting character for people to like get behind. Now, if you're talking about Connor and his story, you can't really forget about the human he is aiding in the deviant cases, and that will be his partner Hank, who is essentially basically Connor's side character, because all the characters have like a side character or characters, and for most of the video game he is around Hank, who essentially is his like best friend in the show, but also like would kind of have like a yin yang relationship. But I feel like if they were to make it to a TV show, Hank would also be like one of the big characters because he was a huge character in this video game. So I feel like if they are to do this, they obviously can't forget someone like Hank. But I feel like it's worth mentioning that he is like a very funny character in the video game. So I feel like if it wasn't to a TV show, a lot of people who haven't played the game would really like Hank. And also, if you didn't know, he is the voice of Mr. Krabs.
No. Where?
I'm a plastic asshole like you. Get the fuck out of here.
Alright, the next character up is Kara, who is a basically maid service android sent by CyberLife to basically be like a maid to humans. And once again, for people who have played the game, this might be a tiny spoiler, but she is basically a android who is a maid for a abusive household with a dad and his daughter. And essentially she's just like an android that you're just rooting for during the whole like game. Also, by the way, sorry if I'm saying like a lot, that's just like how I talk, and I said it again. But like anyway, she is just basically someone that you can get behind in the game that you are rooting for, because she goes through a lot of adversity with herself as an android, and also the person that she has around her, who I'm going to get into next, who is her second plot character, being Alice. Alice is the daughter of Todd, the abusive dad from the beginning of the game, and basically she is with you for the entirety of the game as you try to protect her and protect yourself, as obviously you are an android, a target for the humans, while you're also trying to protect this little girl at the same time. All right, so next up we have is Marcus, who is another one of the big characters in Detroit Becomes Human, and he is essentially a android sent by Cyberlife to be a caretaker for a very old famous painter in Detroit, Carl, who is the old man. And his story is basically the complete opposite of Connor's. Marcus is the one starting the revolution of the androids trying to become human. That might seem like a small spoiler, but when you play the game, it shows very early on that he is the leader of this rebellion. And once again, this would be like a very interesting show to watch when you're looking at three different perspectives of how the androids are treated. Marcus, on the other hand, is essentially treated the worst out of the three because he was discarded and attacked, and multiple other stuff happened to him that like really showed that like, wow, humans are really treating these androids like shit. And like I said, he would be probably the second main character, or even first, between him and Connor. Kara's kind of like, she's a big character, but she's not really on the level of those two. Essentially the story they're trying to tell, but she also is a big part. But essentially Marcus is the complete opposite of Connor. He is trying to start the rebellion, while Connor is essentially trying to stop it due to its programming. Now, I've talked about the other two main characters, side characters, so let's talk about Marcus's side characters. That being North, Simon, and Josh. Those are essentially the three main characters for Marcus's story, who for a little while they become like a group for a belief or some sort like that for the rebellion. And they all have like their own characteristics and stuff like that. Obviously North, she's more of a aggressive type deviant. Simon's more peaceful in the sort of his deviancy, and Josh is just like neutral. He just, I ain't gonna lie, he's just like a yes man to whatever happens. But yeah, for all their stories, these are their side characters. Here are the main characters and some sort of their backstory and what they would become in the show. Essentially, I think this show would probably be like, it would probably take like maybe 2 to 3 seasons to tell this whole story, because there's so many changing characteristics and there are so many paths that have to be taken in this game. It's a choice-based game, so there's a lot of different endings and people who are alive towards the end. So for that part also, I want to say for the directors of this, they essentially have to choose what ending they want to do and what parts they want to do. And essentially they have to choose the best one that would have the best outcome, because there are some very bad endings in this game, but there's also some very good ones. So I hope if they ever do make this, that they choose the good ending and not the bad ending, because that would leave a lot of fans in distraught. For the next title that we have, I have a movie suggestion. Speak. Alright, sorry. For the next movie suggestion that I have is a video game called 12 Minutes. Now, if you haven't heard or played 12 Minutes, it's essentially kind of like if you heard of the movie Groundhog Day, which basically, if this person dies or the 12 minutes are up, his night restarts. And it's essentially about a guy who comes home from work to his wife, and his wife gets arrested for a murder that happened in the past. And over again, the cop either kills him or essentially kills him, or the 12 minutes runs out and he doesn't find out what happens. So each time it keeps resetting and resetting and resetting. And each time you die, you uncover more clues to essentially try to help prove to the officer and your wife that you're stuck in a time loop and you're trying to escape it. Also, speaking of escaping, you also cannot leave the house. Once you enter the house, you are not able to leave, or once again, your night restarts. And we've seen this movie time and time again, but if you played this game, you know this plot was kind of a weird twist, and it would kind of get people first time watching this movie to be like, what the fuck was that twist? And it's a very sick and twisted twist that I obviously won't spoil, because I'm not going to spoil it, because that's essentially the whole game is based around this huge secret and trying to discover who murdered his wife's father. I think it was 10 years ago, when they first got together. And yeah, I'm not going to go too much into detail about this one, because it's essentially a 2-hour game. It shouldn't take you more than 2 to 3 hours to play it. Essentially like the last title, Detroit Become Human, which takes 10 plus hours to complete. Now, I will say, if they were to make this into a TV show to try to stretch it out, they can add more details and plot holes in a TV show to try to make it longer. Like, for example, if they made this into a TV show, they can, end each episode off with a big clue to keep viewers on their seat about what's going on. And it could potentially change some of the plot lines that are in the game. Essentially how The Last of Us did, changing some very big plots in the game into the TV show. So if they were to make this into a TV show, I wouldn't be surprised, because yes, this is a shorter game, but also it is so many different things that you could do with this, like with the cop, and maybe adding more than 3 characters, maybe, adding in his daughter, because the officer does have a daughter. Maybe she becomes on screen, and I don't know, maybe a brother or a sister. The mom comes out of nowhere. There's so many different stuff that they can add in a TV show or a movie to basically stretch this out, that I believe that this would become a very good project if they were able to do this. Alright, and if you like this content, follow, subscribe, and I'm not gonna hold you guys any more than you have to be. So yeah, without further ado, I'll see you guys later. See you guys in the flash.